JoyNews Desk, we're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We are on DTT because we're free to work. Coming up this morning, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul assures his ministry is taking steps to restore lasting peace in Garu after military officers stormed the community and brutalized some residents. We have details as he confirms the suspects are national security operatives. Also, NPP presidential aspirant Francis Adainimo warns skewed flag bearership race will harm the NPP's chances in the 2024 elections as he takes on the rhetoric of his fellow contender, Kennedy Japan. We have details as we put the spotlight on two-time presidential aspirant Adainimo in the first of our special documentaries on the 4 aspirants in the race. Plus, JoyNews' Erastus Asaridonko adjudged the PAV Answer Journalist of the Year at the 27th edition of the GJ Awards. We'll tell you about the awards night and several other team members at the multimedia group who were honored. Plus, Presec, Opokuwari and Achimota School to clash at the grand finale of the National Science and Maths Quiz later today. We are live at the camps of the contesting schools ahead of the first battle. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do stay for details. Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul has assured his ministry is taking all the necessary steps to restore calm to Garu in the Upper East region. Over the weekend, some military officers stormed the community and brutalized civilians without any provocation. Several sustained injuries in the course of the assault. It is unclear what exactly triggered the incident. In an interview with JoyNews' Blessed Sogan, the minister identified the suspects as national security operatives. We'll hear from him soon, but first, here are some residents recounting the experiences.
We're in the room, I and my husband. So they came and they were knocking. So we thought they were armed robbers. So we defended ourselves, not knowing that they were soldiers. So they came in and started scattering our room, asking us to bring out gas, which we don't have. All our rooms, our doors, they break everything and started beating my husband. That is what happened. They beat him until they sent him out. They beat him to the station. It's not fair. We don't even know why they are doing that.
Now, one of our guys fainted. Whether he will survive it or not, we are not in the picture. We don't know what has happened. Some of our members are not there. They've taken them away. In fact, there is what we call lawlessness in this country. And the president and the minister of defense must be answerable to this, because we Garo people, we are not just laymen like that. We are also human beings. We enjoy human rights. And we cannot allow our brothers and sisters to suffer this kind of humiliation. It is out of bounds. We must state it categorically that if this is what the NPP government want to bring to the people of Garu and the entire Kosak, then they should better back up, because I know that for sure in Ghana here, if there's going to be anything that will bring about chaos in this country, it's going to be about some of these things and nothing else.
What has happened? Garu here is a very peaceful area, peace-loving people, and we have enjoyed this peace for so many years now. We don't know what the military want and what they want to plant in Garu, so that there will be insecurity for us here. In fact, we are highly disappointed in the act that
DCE and MP for the area have been speaking to the incident.
He has not denied that the invasion of Garu was something which happened at the end. There's no denial, and so I take it that the military is responsible for the brutalities in Garu. I've seen the images and it's very disturbing. I mean, in this time and age, that our military would visit such brutality on the people of Garu. Definitely something must have provoked the military action. But there cannot be any justification for what we are seeing. I am reliably informed that there was some attack at the Garu police station there was some shooting incident at the station. Now, if that is why the military moved in, kept the whole of Garu under siege, moved into people's homes, and tortured them to pulp, I would say there can never be a justification for such conduct. Look, those who must have engaged in the shooting incident at the Garu police station ought to be fished out and dealt with in accordance with law. So for the military to step in and then subject the youth of the town, the men, of Garu, to this kind of treatment can never be justified. And I want to condemn the action of the military. Why? Because this is coming on the back of a similar incident which happened at a shaman, which became the subject of a parliamentary probe. I thought that lessons would have been learned, but it appears that, we're not learning lessons at all, and these things keep recurring. It's unfortunate. And well, these are matters that ought to be investigated. At the moment, I cannot say for a fact that the operation was sanctioned by the High Command or some soldiers were on a frolic of their own, which is why I ended my statement by indicating that we shall push for an investigation, particularly given the fact that this is coming on the back of a similar incident which occurred at Ashaman. As I speak, the committee's report on Ashaman is ready and will be debated by the House as soon as the House reconvenes.
Inferences are strongly pointing to the attack on the national security vehicle. I've not had categorical response from the military though. But then this morning while we were there with them to sleep with them to see with us, inferences were, where were we when the boys were attacking the vehicle and all that. So there are strong inferences to the attack on the security vehicle. But as it is now, our concern was to quickly remedy the situation and then as quickly as possible convene as DISEC and then fashion a way out of this whole thing and then to ensure that we are not going to have this again. So as of now, the status quo is that people are responding to treatment at the various at the health facility in Garu. We've had to invoke the presence of the doctors and then also more logistics to be able to take care of people who need the medical attention. And we've also we also have it now that the military have completely withdrawn from the constituency. They are not in the district anymore. They have gone back to camp. And so calmness is being restored. Today happens to be a Garu market day. I had to speak through the radio, the FM station in Garu to calm the tension and the fears around. And so the place is relatively calm. Looking forward is that tomorrow morning, DISEC is convening, involving all the security operatives within the district to fashion a way forward and then to see, to get our recommendations forwarded to the Regional Coordinating Council and then forward to Accra and to Interior.
From the minister who says investigations will be carried out to deal with the culprit.
Working very hard to ensure that Ghana remains very peaceful and that all persons who work for the security of this nation work to the best of their ability and are given the equipment that they need to be able to work. Specifically to the 4 people that you mentioned that apparently some people misjudge them and try to apprehend them. They are in fact members of the national security apparatus, and they were actually sent on official duty. There could have been there was some miscommunication somewhere along the line and mistrust. It's one of the things that we are trying to resolve. Because there's some bit of mistrust in the general Boko area, people try to assume things that may not be right, and maybe because they don't have the initial information may try to do things that may not be right. But we are concerned about that mistrust, and we're taking steps to address them. So we are taking steps to ensure that Baku becomes very peaceful. We are taking steps to address the issue of gender mistrust, and we are taking steps to ensure that not just Baku but the entire northern zone is relatively peaceful and safe. If there are people who are not members of security agencies, we will let you know.
Well, security analyst Adib Sani has been condemning the attack. He spoke earlier on the AM show.
I think there is a bit of a gap, a disconnect between state security on one hand and the people on the other hand. And it is further exacerbated by the spate of misinformation and disinformation that is coming up from that area. Look, we have Facebook pages belonging to the two sides of the conflict where pictures of certain individuals are posted and threats made to the effect that we know who you are, we have your picture, and we are going to come after you. And Benjamin, believe it or not, such people are in the end killed, okay? In some cases, there are some individuals on the ground who are able to disseminate false information about the movements of certain persons they think are working closely with the other side, okay? And within minutes, they are able to galvanize people to engage in some of these acts of lawlessness. And I do agree with the level of proliferation of small arms and light weapons, especially military-grade rifles, including AR-15s, M16s, AK-47 in the area, is quite worrying. In some cases, the weapons they hold, the civilians, is even more potent than that of the military. And there has been a consistent pattern. I'm not in any way, Benjamin, let me be clear about this.
Away from the Garua attacks, NPP flag bearer hopeful Francis Adainimo is warning the NPP will struggle to break the 8 if it does not take steps to fix the race, which he says has been skewed in favor of the Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia. With barely 5 days for the more than 200,000 delegates of the NPP to elect a flag bearer for the 2024 elections, Francis Adainimo, who is running for the second time to lead the party, says the rhetoric of Kennedy Japan, his fellow contender, is concerning. Here are excerpts from the documentary focusing on the former Mampong MP.
With just a few days for more than 200,000 delegates of the governing New Patriotic Party to crown a new person to lead it into the 2024 election, the race is heating up and the rhetoric is hitting a crescendo. One of the 4 out of the initial list of 10 party stalwarts who made it from the Superdelegate Conference is Engineer Adainimo, who is seeking to lead the NPP for the second time after his first bid in 2014 failed. Welcome to the story of Adainimo, a man whose life is intricately woven with the fabric of Ghana itself.
I'm a 58-year-old man. Precisely born on 23rd March 1965, and I come from a community under Mampong in Ashanti region called Nyinampong, just 5 kilometers away from Mampong, where both parents of mine they come from. So I'm an Ashanti by birth.
Adainimo says he's a leader who solves problems, a trait he believes is essential for any visionary. This is what has inspired him to run to lead the NPP into 2024.
I believe in problem solving, or I'm a problem solver, but not a problem creator. In life, we must find solutions to issues. Don't deliberately attempt to create problems which shouldn't exist.
Adainimo's message to delegates is clear, presenting himself as a fresh and unsullied candidate.
Right now, there are 4 of us remaining in the race. In terms of age, I'm the youngest. I'm 58 years. The Vice President is 60. Honorable Kenya Japan is about 63 or 64, one of them. Honorable Usofri Yakuto is over 70. In terms of age, I'm the youngest. However, in terms of the leadership race or flag bearership race, I'm the senior. This is my second attempt, and the rest of the three, this is their first attempt. So if you are going by seniority, I should secure the nod to lead the party with the experience and with the grassroots work that I have done in the party.
He strongly believes the playing field has been skewed to favor Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
No, the playing field has not been leveled, and it is admitted. It is an open secret because we have certain key party senior members who openly declare support for one particular candidate. I mean, if it is private declaration of support, fine. But in open declaration of support, MPs, they constitute themselves. We are a bloc from this part of the country, and we are urging all our people from that bloc of this part of the country to go into this direction. No, we don't do it that way. Then already the playing field is what? It's odd. It's not even. Intimidation of delegates, coercion of delegates. What we saw in the superdelegates elections of August 26, where party executives, at the regional level, we have some executives who are appointed, 7 executives at the regional level who are appointed. And if there is a threat that if you don't toe this line, you will lose your position as a regional officer.
The determination in Adainimo's eyes as he aims for the highest office in the land is clear. He says he was taken aback by the decision of Alan Trematin to leave the party, conceding it will greatly affect the chances of the party in 2024. The twists and turns of political competitions have always been unpredictable to Adainimo. He says the rhetoric of Kennedy Japan will not help the party, urging him to campaign on issues as he has been doing over the last few months.
The style of another candidate may be different, and I will leave it as such. But of course, if one makes pronouncements and those pronouncements seem to be detrimental to the good image of the party, in promoting the unity amongst the party members, then those pronouncements become matters of concern to all of us. And I believe, yes, they are matters of concern.
Away from politics, let's now turn our attention to the Akosombo Dam spillage. Well, the Jadel Foundation has gone to the aid of other affected areas aside Mepe.
In an interview with the media, the program lead of Jadal's Foundation, Ms. Davida Papo, indicated that the primary focus of Jadal's Foundation donation lies in ensuring the menstrual hygiene of women and girls, providing access to potable drinking water, sanitation, and ample food supplies. These essentials, according to her, are vital for the health and well-being of the flood victims.
Donation is based on the wash needs, that is water, sanitation and hygiene. So we are donating toiletries to all the households in the community. We are also donating buckets that with tablets, water purifying tablets that they can also use to get potable water. For the girls and the women in the community, we are donating sanitary pads with toilet rolls as well. And then also we are donating food items to the whole household. So we hope that they will utilize all the items judiciously.
Now, earlier, some of the flood victims complained of not receiving the much needed support and were not able to feed their families because of the hardship being endured due to the effects of the flooding.
Here I am hosting almost 20 households, and in each household, people in one household is averagely, I can say 6 in each household. So when you want to take a creditor, meaning about 5 to 6 households are in one room. Those who are sleeping outside are not part of it. So today we pray to God. The army came for one intervention that they were putting up the tents so that some of.
Robert Justice Aye is the human resource manager for the Jadaus Foundation.
Because of the spillage that happened at the Kosombo Dam, we realized that we're supposed to do something. So the chairman of the group decided, why can't we do it? Because people are giving out. So we saw a need. We said, no, it is important for us to also give some things. We also realized that even though people were advising us, why can't you take it to the king or is it the queen mother? We decided it is better for us to give it to the people one by one, because I understand people were, taking the things elsewhere.
Ivy Satoji, Joy News, Mepe.
Member of Parliament for the One West constituency, Superintendent Peter Lanshin-Tobo, has called for more empathy and support for the flood victims. He knows though the issue is a man-made one, and for that matter not about government, it is still incumbent on all to donate to the victims to ameliorate their plight.
Member of Parliament for the One West constituency, Superintendent retired Peter Lanshin-Tobo, in a brief remark before he donated the 25 bags of maize valued around 30,000 Ghana cedis and a cash amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis, urged Ghanaians not to put the responsibility of working to relieve the pain of the victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage on the government, but complement its effort by helping with relief items to ameliorate their suffering.
The chiefs of Wawes, members of the National Democratic Congress of Wawes, brothers and sisters who all agree to contribute to support our brothers and sisters in the Volta region, I stand on behalf of the whole constituency to express my appreciation, to say thank you very much. That is humanity. Ubuntu. You are because I am, and I am because you are. When the people of Volta region are in crisis, and you sit and think that it is not you, one day when it is your turn, there wouldn't be anybody around to help you. I, standing on behalf of the people of Wawes, believe that today, as we present 25 bags, maxi bags of maize, and I'm going to add 5,000 Ghana cedis to support my brothers and sisters in the Volta region. I am challenging everybody in this country, show some love. It's not just about government. It's about the fact that we are Ghanaians. And the Ghanaianness in that should show when a brother or sister is in need. It is agreeable that this is a man-made disaster, but it has come to stay as a disaster. There is nothing we can do about that. All we have to do is to try to see what we can do to relieve them from the pain, from the misery, from the disaster.
Superintendent retired Peter Lanshin-Tobo is at a loss as to why up to now no one has shown up and claimed responsibility over the incident.
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah of blessed memory 60 years ago constructed the biggest man-made lake in the world. Surprisingly, over 60 years down the line, we created a man-made disaster. And that is why it's very difficult for the government to call it a national or natural disaster and national emergency. Because this is a planting. We spilled the dam to prevent total collapse of the dam. Why it was not spilled incrementally to prevent this disaster is a question that remains unanswered. Why nobody is demonstrating responsibility by resigning to show that I have failed on my job, I slept on my job, is a question that remains unanswered. But as people of Wawes, whatever it is, the people of the Volta region are suffering.
Upper West Regional Organizer of the NDC, Bahara Thomas, received the items on behalf of the Upper West Regional Executives of the party for almost sending to the victims of the disaster. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
Manager of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, John Tahiri, has justified the company's decision to cut power to some major health facilities in the area. Mr. John Tahiri, in an interview with JoyNews, disclosed the exercise is solely for the survival of the company. And Asabit has more.
The Northern Electricity Distribution Company in April this year embarked on its mass, revenue mobilization exercise. Several institutions, including individuals who owe huge sums of monies, were, visited, and the company was able to retrieve several thousands of Ghana cedis that its customers owe them then. In fact, the exercise is still ongoing. As I speak to you, it is in its third phase. This time around, major health institutions or health facilities across the region have been, the targets, because most of them are owing huge sums of money. This morning, I'm here at the Techiman area office of, NEDCO, engaging the area manager, Mr. John Tahiri, on what informed the, company's decision to embark on this mass revenue mobilization exercise.
The most recent health facility to have been affected is the Bono East Regional Cold Room under the Ghana Health Services. Mr. John Tahiri tells me enough engagements were taken since April, but all attempts to get managers of the facility to make payments has proved futile despite the intervention of the Bono East Regional Minister along the line.
It is not just about the regional cold room. We are doing revenue mobilization, and we are using disconnection as our last card. It is not pleasant. We don't like it. So further engagement went up to our father, who is the regional minister. He invited all stakeholders. Then we deliberated upon the way forward. And he appealed to NEDCO to restore supply to the Kintampo room. And after that one, we restored supply. We also followed up with a disconnection notice, and there was no response to any of them. It was as if we were being called some kind of bluffs. So we took off the supply.
Mr. John Tahiri tells me that this exercise is not targeted at any individual or any individual institutions. Of course, it is for solely the sustenance or the survival of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, which equally buys power and then sells it to its consumers.
This revenue mobilization exercise is for NEDCO's survival. It is not just for profit or whatever. It is for survival. So if we are unable to mobilize the revenues that we sell power and mobilize the revenue from this power sales, we procure electricity. We don't generate. So if we are unable to collect the money from users and consumers, then it is not just sustainable. NEDCO cannot survive.
Managers of NEDCO, however, believes that there is the need for a stakeholder engagement between affected consumers and NEDCO on the need to arrive at a lasting solution to the matter.
Like I said, we all admit that there are challenges. And managers of health facility and, stakeholders, let me put it that way, stakeholders need to engage further. Because we have come to a stage where if we want to move forward, we must be engaging